Welcome to Art Inspired Yoga at the Barry Art Museum. My name's Leah of Rise and Shine. This flow we highlight Joan Thorne's Ananda. There seems to be a uniform pattern, but isolated shapes and juxtaposing rhythms meet the observant spectator. This piece encompasses various colors and different directions, bringing attention to both abstraction's history and future possibilities. If you enjoy programming such as this, we'd love to have you as a member of the Barry Art Museum. Hope to see you soon. Welcome to the yoga portion of Art Inspired Yoga. As you can see, we're in Joan Thorne's gallery, all of her pieces surrounding us. Ananda is right here to my right. Go ahead and lower down to your mat, starting out in a simple hero's pose. You can stay here or lower yourself all the way down to a alternate Shavasana. Our forehead and belly are down on the mat. Big toes come to touch. I'm resting my forehead in a pillow of my hands. You can also make a pillow with your fists, or you can rest on one cheek or the other, looking off to the side. Starting off in this reverse Shavasana to really ground ourselves and center ourselves before this practice. As you see in Joan Thorne's abstract works, there's lots of movement, lots of swirls, lots of different shapes and textures, and we want to be mindful as when we're moving through this movement and this flow, we are still grounded at our core. There's still a solid foundation and base. Check in with yourself and your breathing. If you're holding tension anywhere, release that. Breathe into that area. And let's enjoy this flow together. Begin to deepen your inhales and exhales. Bend your left knee, let your left hand come behind, and reach for your left foot. When you have your foot, either with your hand or a strap or towel, make sure you're pushing still, bringing your hip bone down to the mat. It'll have a tendency to rise up, and you want to make sure you're still pushing the hip bone down flat. Same thing other side on the right side. When you push your hip bone flat into the mat, it intensifies and furthers the stretch in our hip flexors and the fronts of our legs. Exhale, release. From here, goal post your arms so your arms are at a 90-degree angle, palms still down, and bring your right knee up close to your right elbow. They don't need to touch, but what we're doing here is a half frog. We're really opening up our right hip joint here. Of course, go to the point of growth and stretch, never to pain. Keep breathing, listen to your body, and see what feels best for you. This is a very intense stretch, so please be gentle with yourself. Exhale, release, bring your right foot back to meet your left. Now bring your left foot, or your left knee, up to meet your left elbow, as close as it gets. You can turn onto one side, lowering one ear to the mat, or feel free to keep your forehead down to the mat. Still grounded through our belly and our practice, but opening up our hips more. Gently push yourself back up to tabletop now. Wrists are stacked under our shoulders, knees under our hips. Warming up our spine. Inhale to cow, dropping our belly. Exhale to cat, rounding out our upper spine, tucking our chin to our chest. Alternate between your cats and cows, focusing on warming up our spine. Keep breathing through all your movement. Eventually, find some organic movement for yourself. Maybe you want to wiggle side to side. Maybe you want to keep doing your cat-cows, whichever. You can even windshield wiper your feet from side to side. Our basic goal here is to loosen and warm up our body. Great. From here, back to tabletop, extend your right leg back. You can point or flex your foot as long as there's some energy going through, and extend your left hand forward as if you're shaking someone's hand. Exhale, knee to nose. Extend again, feeling that lengthening, and balance. Come back down to tabletop. Same thing other side. engaging our core, extending our left leg out. Right hand comes right in front of us, shaking our imaginary friend's hand. Find your balance, stabilize yourself, you got this. Exhale, knee to nose. Elongate, stretch, stretch, stretch. So good. Exhale, release down. Come back to child's pose, resting your heels and your hips on your heels. You can always make a little pillow to rest under your forehead if your forehead doesn't quite meet the mat. Take a few breaths in here. And exhale, rise back up to tabletop. We're going to test our core and our balance one more time. Inhale. Extend your right leg out. Find your balance. Have your left hand come out this time. Now reach back, just like we did in the very beginning. You're going to reach back for that foot. You can kick up a bit. Again, use a towel if that helps, a strap, whatever to get you there. Or just simply bend your knee. Same thing, other side. Reach your right hand back towards your left foot. You want to keep your knee lifted, stretching not only our balance but also the fronts of our legs. Nice. And release with control. Shift back down to your child's pose to reset one more time. From this tabletop, extend your right leg out behind you. Toes are either flexed or pointed. Bend your right knee and come down. Same thing, other side. Bend your left foot. Bend your left knee rather, come down. Here in Hero's Pose, we're going to turn to the other side of our mat, to the wide side. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, hands together, passing through your throat chakra, resting at your heart center. Take a few breaths in here. Exhale, release your hands down to your mat and twist over to the right. Being sure to not collapse, which is very natural to do, but really poof your chest open, throw your shoulders back. Exhale, come forward, almost in like a closed knee child's pose. Push yourself back up. Exhale, twist over the other side. Look over your left shoulder. Keep your chest nice and lifted, making sure not to collapse into our chest. Open, broad collarbones. To deepen the stretch, let your left hand come behind your back. You can have a slight bind there. Exhale, plant your palms. Step your feet out wide and push up, almost like a downward facing dog. Wiggle your feet out wider to make it a wide-legged forward fold. Your hands can rest by your head. You can grab for your ankles, whatever feels best for you. Joan Thorne's piece uses a lot of different shapes and textures and orientations, and that's exactly what we're going to do in this yoga flow. Heel toe your feet together, rise up slowly, one vertebra at a time. Come back to the traditional front of your mat. Inhale, arms overhead, extended mountain pose. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant your palms, step back to high plank. From here, shift your hips up to downward facing dog. Just playing with these two poses, alternating between plank and downward facing dog. You want to lift your heels and ripple forward from your heels, going all the way to the crown of your head. It's like a waving motion. Wave forward to high plank and shift back to downward facing dog. From here, gently lower your knees down. And you're going to bring your belly, your chest, everything down to low cobra, to Bujungasana. Bring your big toes to touch. Weight off your hands and squeeze, lift everything up. Rest down, inhale, squeeze up, warming up our back muscles. and release. Last time. Squeeze, rise up a little higher. Good job. Exhale, release. Gently push yourself back up, tabletop, and shift up to downward facing dog. Pedal it out, bend your knees, whatever you need to do to get a good feeling in this first real down dog of class. You can bend your knees to let your chest come closer to your quads. Find some stillness eventually, and then wave forward just like we did before, waving forward to plank. Option to lower your knees for this first chaturanga vinyasa, or keep your knees lifted, meeting it through upward facing dog, and exhaling to downward facing dog. Lift your heels, bend your knees. Step, hop, float, walk to the front of your mat, meeting in forward fold. From here, clasp your opposite elbows and ragdoll. I love to keep a deep bend in my knees. It really is a nice release for my lower back. You can release your elbows, your elbow bind here, and let yourself just paint rainbows on either side of the mat, going from side to side. Eventually find stillness, lift up to half lift, exhale back down, and rise up tall, extended mountain pose. Cactus your arms, shooting your hips forward a bit. Exhale, extend. Inhale, slight back bend with our cactus arms. Reach overhead, and one more time, cactus your arms. Exhale, lower your hands to your heart center, Samastiti. Inhale, arms extend overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift with that nice flat back. Plant your palms now, step back to high plank. Move through your vinyasa with your knees raised or lowered, your choice. Eventually meeting in downward facing dog. From downward dog, inhale your right leg up to three-legged dog. Point and flex your foot a bit. Now engage your hamstring and lift your right foot up higher. Exhale, right knee to nose, step your foot through. Here we are in runner's lunge. Gently lower your left knee down, untuck your toes, rise up, low crescent lunge, Anjaneyasana. Inhale, arms overhead, relax your shoulder blades down into their sockets. Have a strong bend in your front right knee. Core is engaged, so we're not too open, but we're still controlled there. Inhale, nice and tall. Exhale, grab your blocks if you have them, or rest your palms on the mat. Shift back to half split. Really keep your right foot flexed, bringing your toes towards your face. Putting so much energy in that foot, it helps protect your kneecap. Keeping your back flat. Inhale here, and exhale. Fold a little deeper. This is a very intense hamstring stretch, so be patient with your body and yourself. Inhale and collapse over. Don't worry so much about the flat back. Rebend into your front right knee. Tuck your left toes under. Lift up. Again, here in that runner's lunge. Rise up all the way now to high crescent lunge. Back knee is off the ground. Keep some energy going through your left heel. You can either bend it or keep it straight, as long as there's some brightness in that supporting leg. Arms are tall overhead, strong bend in our front right knee. Exhale down, step back to high plank. Move through your vinyasa if you like, or let's just meet in downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg comes up, three-legged dog. Same thing, engage the backs of your legs and squeeze up higher, lifting that left leg up even more. Exhale, left knee to nose, step your left foot through. Rest your right knee on the ground, rise up now, low crescent lunge. It's a nice hip flexor opening here. Let your arms come overhead. And exhale, release down to half split. So our hips are resting over our back knee. They're not all the way down to our back heel. Make sure your left foot is flexed again. Play with this, feel out what feels best. Do your best to keep your back flat. If it curves a bit, no worries. Focusing on stretching your back hamstring, your left hamstring rather. Inhale here and exhale, release. Inhale, rebend into your left foot. Tuck your right toe under. Lift your right knee off the ground. Getting set, and rise up, high crescent lunge. Same thing, option to keep your back knee nice and straight or have a slight bend. Still remembering to engage your core here. Breathe in and exhale, plant your palms down. Step back to high plank. And come up to downward facing dog. Inhale, right leg comes up again. Three-legged dog. This time, open your hip to the side. Point your foot and bend your knee. It feels really good to open our hip here. Feel free to add a little circle carefully. Our hip flexor and our hip joints very delicate, so always moving with grace and gentility. Extend your leg out, back to three-legged dog. Exhale, right knee to nose. Step your right foot through. This time, seal your left heel down. Rise up, warrior one. Our hips are still square to the front of the mat. You can even place your hands on your hips to make sure that your hips are pointing forward, nice and aligned, nice and stable. Strong bend in our right knee as always. Inhale your arms overhead if you like. And exhale, spiral open now to the side for warrior two. You may have to adjust your stance here, widen up a bit. We're looking over our right front arm now, relaxing our shoulder blades away from our ears. Again, our hips are open to this side now. Inhale and exhale here to reverse warrior. It's a nice side stretch. Exhale, release back down to warrior two. Come by now for extended side angle, resting our right forearm on our right quad. Left arm comes overhead. Inhale back to warrior two. Straighten out your right leg now and turn it to the side, revisiting that wide-legged forward fold. Same as before, your hands can be underneath by your head, or you can reach out for your ankles. You can even bind them behind your back for a nice upper back and shoulder opener. Make sure your weight's in the balls of your feet. Have a slight bend in your knees, a little micro bend. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, release down. See if you can go a little further into this forward fold. From here, walk your hands to the left side now to your left foot. Bend deeply into your left leg. Seal your right heel down. Rise up, warrior one on this side. Playing with all the different sides of our yoga mat here. Our right foot is sealed to the mat. Readjust yourself if need be. Hips are squared forward. Very nice. And exhale, warrior two. So now we do open up our hips to the side of the mat. Left hand and left leg are in front now. Inhale here, get settled. Exhale, lift up to reverse warrior. Left hand comes up and over slightly, feeling a nice lengthening along our left side body. Exhale back to warrior two. And keep going to extended side angle, resting our left forearm on our left quad. Right arm comes overhead. Lift up again, warrior two here. Straighten your left leg. Turn your left toes forward. Back into that wide-legged forward fold. Again, play with this here. If you want to keep a bend in your knees, do so. I like to put my arms through here. It helps me go a little deeper into this forward fold. Keep breathing. Do a light body scan again. See where you are. See how you're feeling. Walk your arms back by your head. Heel toe your feet in closer. Halfway lift. Exhale, release down. And bend, squat down. Readjust yourself, eventually meeting in a low yogic squat. You can use your blocks if you like to sit on top for extra support, or if you don't have blocks, maybe a pillow. You still want to yearn for your chest to be open like an upward facing dog. Use your elbows to push gently out to encourage your hips to open a bit more. Drop your pelvic bone down, weights in your heels. Enjoy this pose here. Take some deep breaths. Nice. Gently come out of that into a forward fold, downward dog hybrid, and heel toe your feet back together, coming back to those rainbows. Again, keep those knees bent for that nice release in your lower back. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, release your palms down again. And inhale, roll up one vertebra at a time. Inhale, arms overhead. Stretch over to your left. That's the sensation you feel in reverse warrior, yes? Again, make sure your chest is nice and open. Back to center. Resetting. Inhale and reach over now to your right. I like to gently encourage my hips on the opposite direction. It helps me further my side stretch. Come back to center. Reset by bending your knees if you like. And exhale, release. All right, let's play with some balance now. Inhale, right leg comes up, one-legged Tadasana. You can stay here if you like. This is already enough balance. If you want to go a little further, cross your right ankle over your left quad. Make sure your right foot is flexed. Find your balance. Hands can be at your heart center or on your hips. And bend into your left knee. This is a nice outer thigh opener, outer hip opener. Come back up and out. These balance poses are tricky, but they are fun to try. All right, other side, left leg comes up, rooted in our right foot, with our left foot flexed. Whoops, fell out. Come back at it. With our left foot flexed, we cross our left ankle over our right thigh, bending, trusting our supporting leg. Hands are at our heart center or our hips, and when you're ready, you can extend your arms upwards like your branches of a tree. This is a nice, again, hip opener, leg stretch here, and rise up, shake out of that balance pose. Good job, everyone. Again, if ever you fall out of a pose, just get back in. Here, we're just going to loosen up a bit, doing some arm circles, some light knee bends. Nice. Inhale, arms overhead again. And exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Plant your palms, step back to high plank. Shift your hips back, downward facing dog. Playing again with that wave. We're going to go back and forth between the high plank and our down dog. Really enjoying that wave sensation. And eventually use that momentum to go into your vinyasa. This movement here is echoing all the movement we see in Joan Thorne's work. So shifting, waving between high plank, downward dog, and on the third one, use that momentum to come up to upward facing dog. Shift your hips back to downward facing dog. One more time. Wave forward and back. You got this. Use the momentum, catch a wave. Upward facing dog here. And exhale, downward facing dog. So fun, so nice. All right, so from our plank, shift forward again and lower to your forearms. So you're lowering your forearms exactly where underneath where your palms were. Now gently, on your tippy toes, inch forward. This can be a very intense stretch on our shoulders, which is why we warmed it up a little bit more. This is called Dolphin. See what feels best for you. You may be holding a high plank or a slightly inverted high plank. Go as far to where your body allows today and breathe into this upper back and shoulder opener. Eventually exhale, carefully bend your knees, lower back down, a much deserved child's pose. You can rest your arms, wrapping them around to your feet. See what feels best for you, massaging your forehead to the mat. Whatever feels best. Take a few deep breaths in here. And exhale. Eventually, release your hands from your feet. Push back up to tabletop. Resetting ourselves, sitting back up again, hero's pose, hands at our heart center, checking in with ourselves. Feeling good, feeling great. Back to tabletop. And our downward facing dog. Bend your knees, hop, skip, whichever. Back to the front of the mat and roll up one vertebra at a time. All right. Balance pose challenge round 2. Make sure your hips are squared. Lift your right leg up and cross it over. We're going into eagle pose now. Eagle pose is challenging for me, but I still like to do it to give my body the opportunity to feel the sensation. You can cross your arms, or if you feel comfortable, intertwine your arms so that at your elbow points, your arms interlock, and you try to grasp the palms of each hand. Really trust your supporting leg here. If you fall out, come back into it. Shake it off. It's all just yoga. Let's try on the other side now. One side usually is a little more flexible than the other. All right, eagle legs, crossing, compressing there in our lymph nodes. Hands can stay at your heart center. And make sure that you bring the opposite arm on top this time for balance. See where that eagle twist, that compression rather, see where it feels best for you. We have so many lymph nodes in our groin area and our armpits, so when we compress and squeeze in this pose, it's helping to replenish them with new lymph. Shake it out, shake, shake, shake. Inhale, star, take up space, open your chest, exhale to goddess. Inhale again, star. Drop down low with goddess, a nice squat. Inhale one more time, star. Exhale to goddess here. Nice weights in our heels, hands at our heart center. Straighten your legs. Heel toe your feet back to center. And gently go back down to your mat. No fancy transition, just coming back down. You can stretch out your shoulder blades or shoulders this way by gently grabbing above or below the elbow, never at the joint. If you want to loosen up your shoulders from our dolphin pose, from our eagle, all of that. If you have a pole or maybe a table or like a chair you can hold on to, you can hold on to it and gently rotate to open up our shoulders. This coming shoulder stretch can be intense, just like frog in the beginning of class for our hips, but it's really a great shoulder and upper back opener. Rest your left arm straight down and gently turn your body so your chest faces the side. Let your right arm be your support. I like to bend my right leg and use it as a support for myself. Breathe into this pose. Go only as far as your body allows. Eventually exhale, come back to center. From center, let's try the other side. Extend your right arm out. Left arm is our support here. Gently bring your left leg over, keeping a nice bend, finding that sweet spot for you as you open up your right shoulder here. Keep breathing into this. Again, if this is too intense, you can choose to sit up and bring your arm cross-body, grabbing above or below your elbow, or use a pole or table, whatever, to help you open up this shoulder joint. Exhale, release back to center. Take a breath in here. Exhale. Good job on those intense stretches. Coming back one more time, bend your right leg. Use your right foot to grab. Same thing now, grab your left foot behind. Make sure your knees are still inwards towards each other and lift your chest up. Bow pose. It's a very good back stretch and back opener. Keep looking down and release, using every muscle in our body for this pose. Let's try again. Reset, visualize it. Bend your right knee, grab for your right foot. Exhale, now grab for your left leg. Keep your knees in close to each other, engage in your inner thighs. Inhale, rise up. If this is a bit too intense, which this is an intense back stretch, feel free to do a low cobra, like we did before in class, or an upward facing dog. Exhale, gently release down. Great job on those back poses, wherever you were, whatever you chose. Gently rise up again, passing through tabletop to hero's pose. All right, gently sit back down, let your feet come in front of you. As here we are in Pashimotonasana, staff pose. So many options here. You can keep your knees lifted. You can round your back or keep a flat back. You can even sit on a block. That way you're up higher. And as you fold forward, if you feel any sensation whatsoever in your lower back that is a little painful, that's a sign to bend your knees. Go as far as your body allows today. Maybe you're touching your feet, giving yourself a foot massage. Maybe you're by your shins. Maybe you're by your quads, wherever. On your next inhale, remove the block. If you're sitting on it, sit up tall. Give yourself space to slowly, with control, lower yourself down to the mat. Regroup here. Inhale both knees to your chest. You can grab at your shins or hamstrings. Gently rock side to side, massaging your lower back out. This always feels so good for me. Exhale, cactus your arms. Extend your legs up for a slight inversion. Again, pointing and flexing your feet, encouraging new blood circulation, new blood flow. Exhale, tee out your arms again. Bend your knees. This time, twist over towards your left. You can look over to your right shoulder or stay looking up at the ceiling, feeling a nice cleansing twist with your knees on the left. Inhale, knees to center again. Extend upwards. Point and flex your feet. Maybe doing some ankle circles. Seeing what feels best for you. Bend your knees again and exhale. Lower both knees over to the right. Look over your left shoulder. Even in our twist, we're still breathing. Inhale, knees to center again. Rock side to side, massaging out our back. Rock slightly front and back now, going up and down our spine. Giving ourselves a nice little back massage. Eventually lower down with control. Cross your right foot over your left. We're doing a seated figure 4 on our back. We did this before on our feet. Now we're trying this again on our back. Make sure you keep your right foot flexed to protect your knee joint. Exhale, release. Left leg comes over this time with our left foot flexed. Reach for your right hamstring or your right shin. As you do this, bring in your bottom leg to really intensify that outer thigh stretch on your left leg. You can even use your left elbow to encourage your leg to stretch a bit more. Release your left foot here. Bring your heels close to your fingertips. Rise up for bridge pose. Push through the soles of your feet. Look at your belly button. This is also another good pose to encourage new circulation. Lower down with control. Bring your knees into your chest and squeeze, squeeze, squeeze every muscle and release into Shavasana. Our traditional Shavasana, looking up to the sky with a soft gaze or eyes closed. Let your feet open gently. Let your palms come up to the sky. Rest here. I will lead us out of this pose momentarily. Begin to deepen your inhales and exhales. Wiggle your toes and fingertips, coming up to circles. Let the movement grow bigger and bigger, eventually reaching overhead for a good morning, good afternoon, good evening pose, whatever time of day it is you're doing this flow. Now gently bend your knees, roll over onto one side using your bottom arm as a pillow, and push up, back to seated, rooted through our sits bones, fixing your hair if need be. All right, shoulders up and relax down. Inhale, arms overhead. Hands come to touch through your third eye, through your throat chakra, to your heart center. You can reach for your heart or keep your palms of your hands together. Take a deep breath in here. And exhale. Thank you for sharing this time and space with me as we move to a flow inspired by Joan Thorne's art. I bow to you. Thank you. Namaste. Everyone take care. Be sure to come visit the Berry Art Museum.